So thank you so much, Rahul, for having me here, and my respect to Professor Ramcharan, whom we all look up to with great respect, and his contribution is unparalleled. I would like to begin with three things that we have done in our own work at Grassroots. One is that we always looked for people who have solved problems through their own genius at their own with their own resources or local resources. Second, we tried to give voice, visibility, and velocity to those ideas by encouraging others to learn from it and benefit and replicate it if possible through cross pollination of ideas. That's what Honeybee Network does. And third, we also ensured that every 6 months we walk into parts of the country. I have walked in every state of the country, from Andaman to Gurej Valley or North, every state, and update our understanding of how our society is currently thinking and solving problems. And therefore, there is a mechanism that we need for updating periodically our understanding, and the mechanisms must be created for that. Now, how can this conference, which is extremely unique and powerful platform, contribute to that? So my first suggestion is that if we identify those legislators in various parties in various states who have been elected with minimal expenditure, with major strength of their work, and have been able to successively come. So I would divide this into two parts. One, those legislators who have succeeded to win maybe 5, 6, or 7 times in succession or almost in succession, have done something. Maybe they have a lot of influence, maybe because of that they've gone. But in any case, they will be counted people. And I think we need to learn from their experience. How have they managed their constituency? What have they done right in terms of retaining the confidence for 35 or 40 years, whatever? That's one. Secondly, those legislators who have created a lot of public goods and thus are known in their community, in their constituency, for creating institutions or mechanisms which help include other people in the development process. So maybe some of them have created colleges, some of them have created reinforced common property institutions like ponds and whatever else. Some may have done in the area of health, some have done in the area of education and employment or whatever, industry maybe. But we should definitely recognize those who have brought an unimaginable or maybe unprecedented impact in transforming their constituencies through local resources or sometimes mobilizing even government resources. Doesn't matter. That is second. Third is, we should also identify those who have used their constituency funds to support the most poor people in their constituency, either through scholarship, fellowship. Because I know that majority of them will invest it in infrastructure, roads, bridges, this and that. But some may have been exception and may have used it for helping get children from poor families admission in good education institutions, or augmenting the small scale enterprises, or do something by which problem of employment has been handled in one way or the other. And this is something that all of us, the whole country is craving for it. So we need good models of employment generation, good model of education and health, good models of being accountable and responsible to the institution. So I'm looking at the positive deviants. My point is that I appreciate the point that was made a little while ago, that we should not be too critical. The critical part, let people do that. But our goal is to see how some people are able to distinguish themselves so well that they become a point of reference. And this is what institution building is all about, that, they either have very good connect with the people, or they have very good network of the people in different villages who keep them informed of the challenges that are being faced, and they could serve them well. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, some students, and they were mentioning to me that in Assam, they are Mojadars. And in one particular case, They identified during COVID that the revenue collection, that's what the job of Madhikar is. So they tried to find out as to how many people can afford, and they found that about one third people who were salaried or had some regular source of income were uh, had income. And they also found out that for when the lockdown period was there, the community provided the contribution for grain, food, or whatever, and the village Buddha or the elder, they got distributed it to all the needy people in the constituency. So, without depending upon the government, they could create community mobilization for meeting extremely emergent need during the stress period. We have regions which have drought, we have regions which have flood, we have regions which have hailstorm, we have regions which have cyclone. So there are disaster prone regions, and we cannot entirely depend upon government unless communities build their own capacity to help themselves. And I think some MLAs must have done a great job, I'm sure, and we should look for that. So in each area of inclusive development, if we can identify, so to say, role models and encourage them to share how they did it, I think there will be a lot of positive energy which will be generated, and we'll be able to move the discussion in the direction that if they can do, why can't I? So I recognize, I listened to the point that was made that there's a lot of pressure on them, a lot of pressure of expectation, a lot of pressure of getting things done, and a lot of time of MLA goes into helping people to get their various transactions with bureaucracy sorted out, no doubt about it. But despite that, this other thing being equal, this is a pressure in every constituency, all over the country. And yet, some people are able to distinguish themselves, and I think we should really look for them. Finally, I would say that there is also a need for people who have done some common property infrastructure created, which will help community to bring together. I know that some of the legislatures have done a great deal in conservation of biodiversity, conservation of wildlife, conservation of nature. Some have done very good work in creating ponds. You know, Vardha and Saurashtra have similar region, but Saurashtra has many times more ponds than, let us say, Vidarbha. Why is it two terrains similar? Regions are similarly starved of water, and yet one region succeeds, other doesn't. Maybe there is a need for understanding how some regions are able to overcome the constraints and, of course, able to then improve the lives of them. So I think there is a great deal of effort that has been made. Some have brought new clusters. Some people have brought a lot of recognition done for the artisans. But I think we should look for exceptional achievements in different regions by different MLAs. And here I would not go by 6 years or 7 years, seven successive wins. Even if first time MLA has done that, we should recognize that. Because then a new leadership is emerging and we should appreciate that. Look, the new class of MLAs are not necessarily only seeking to accumulate wealth and all that, which many will do. And we have obviously to create an environment in which that can also be discussed openly. But I think we should focus more on positive things that some people have done. Through that, the discussion can be molded in the direction that other people will then have to either admit that yes, there's a scope of doing it better, or find some cues from them and maybe invite them to their constituencies for visit and so on. I don't know whether we have really had an occasion where, if as a follow-up of this conference, Rahul, we could facilitate some inter-constituency visits by voluntarily, of course, by those who say, well, I appreciate what you've done for fisheries community. I appreciate what you've done for weavers. And I want to, in my constituency, also a lot of weavers are there. And I want to see how we can learn from their experience and replicate in our place. So if that starts happening, I think that is a test indicator for me to say the conference has really achieved a great deal in terms of lateral learning and promoting cross-pollination of ideas. I'll stop.